Coming up today, I have a Turbo Barra and I have a heap of intake parts. So let's annoy the neighbours with a bit of dose testing, hey? We've got lots to test, from the completely stock and trying to get some sound from that, to a basic Airbox upgrade, dose pipes of different sizes, some of different materials, pod filters, no pod filters. We've even got a adjustable Atmo Venting BOV valve for the psh psh guys instead. And of course, there's the Bunnings special BOV valve block off, because we are doing this budget style. So you don't have to spend a ton of cash or time working on your car to have a go at this yourself. This is our last episode for the year, so strap in and have a laugh with us. The car we'll be using for this is my BA XR6 Falcon that started life without a turbo, but we recently slapped this setup on the NA engine and it runs around 7 psi. So pretty close to what a stock Falcon would do. If you're running more boost, then hey, you'll just get even better results than what we do today. Here's your 2-second rundown on what turbo dose, flutter or BOV valve venting is, for those not sure, and how to do it as explained by a hack. We all know turbos make boost and feed this into your engine, which is easy when your throttle body is open. But when you suddenly close the throttle, the engine only needs a small amount of that air we've put into the intake piping and your intercooler, and the boost or pressure now has to find somewhere to go. Factory, this will be vented or diverted back into part of the intake before the turbo by your blow-off valve, which on these is down the back here, and be fairly boring sounding or quiet. Stealthy. Instead, you can also take this blow-off valve or an aftermarket one and vent it straight to the atmosphere, which is a more dramatic way of saying it will just be releasing the pressure into the engine bay and make that rushing or hissing air noise. Or we then have turbo flutter, the sound best associated here in Australia with the good old VL turbo. To do this, we have no venting of the pressure at all by blocking or disabling the blow-off valve, so it's forced back through the turbo where the blades release it or chop it up in waves and make that noise. My sound effects are on point, hey? This shouldn't stop or certainly not reverse the rotation of the turbo, but people will freak out at that and say you're killing the turbo doing it. I'm a long way from an expert on the subject. Make up your own mind on this, but my take on it reducing the life of the turbo is that, yeah, sure it will, somewhat. Will it be 5 kilometers or 50,000 kilometers? I can't say, but I do think it's not the instant death that some people make it out to be. And I'm not terribly concerned in something that's not a daily. The actual driving method normally used to achieve this flutter, dose or blow-off valve sound is really simple. I've rigged it up today by putting the rear of the car up on stands so we don't have to leave the shed, but also not doing shed skids the whole time holding it back. And I'll hold the brake as much as I can, get in the throttle a bit and get the turbo up and going. The easiest way to do it out driving though is to give the car a bit of throttle while driving, get it into boost and then lift off the pedal, slamming that throttle blade shut. That simple. The sound it makes is a bit more complicated though. It can vary not only by the venting method, but also with the size and materials of parts used and is a bit like tuning a mechanical musical instrument. The only musical instrument I know how to tune changes note depending on whether I lift a leg or not. So let's get into it on the car instead and see what sounds best. Sorry, Mum.
We jump now to our testing, starting with the completely stock intake for a base run. And I say we this time because Mrs. Browney is joining us as our special guest in the peanut gallery.
Yep, boring. Couldn't really hear anything. Did not like that stock airbox, but I think our first go-to will be our cheapest and easiest to get some sound. A spare bolt.
The vacuum line to the blow-off valve is removed and blocked with that bolt. The blow-off valve may leak a little boost this way, so not the right way to do it, but sound should be the same and not hurt anything for a quick test. For slightly more work and a few bucks, we could remove the crossover and delete the blow-off valve with chair leg ends. Sounds weird, but it seems fairly common on these. Enough so that I had to go to 3 different Bunnings to get just one set.
Little baby dose. Okay,
Yep.
We clearly need some more sound, so let's try our Aftermarket Airbox and pod filter next up.
Okay, that's the better than else.
You got it?
Yeah, it's just there.
Where is it?
Just there on the thing.
We are currently benchmarking against Mrs. Browney's turbo, and she reckons she's winning. I think she's right.
Mrs. Browney is right, but for how long? Going in is our custom shop airbox and intake. It's a budget upgrade that maintains a fairly stock look and doesn't need any other upgrades to fit. We originally put this on for the NA upgrades, but for the turbo now, it gives a nice little bump in turbo noise. Or does it?
Bit more intake sound, but let's try some flutter by blocking that blow-off valve again quickly. A little bit better. We're getting somewhere. That's not bad for just an airbox. Before we go the full flutter, let's try something a little bit, it'll divide opinions, I think. This is a full Atmo Venting blow-off valve that we can adjust. Give it a chance. Let's see how that sounds.
I can now adjust this between full vent, recirc, or anywhere between with just a twist. The crossover is removed for this and the old blow-off valve is replaced. Here's full venting with the Trumpet.
That was a lot louder than I expected.
Yeah, that was yeah. So you know.
That's not bad. I don't mind that for something different.
Yeah.
Let's try that. I'll remove the little trumpet off the blow-off valve. Not sure it'll make much of a difference, but I'm curious. Someone tightened it up too much. That's not like me.
No, not at all.
Ham-fisted. Different.
Quieter.
Yeah, I think you're right. That might have been a bit quieter.
Yeah.
A little bit quieter, not as sharp or not as high a note. I don't know. Definitely did make a difference.
Yeah.
And it had a bit of flutter too, which it can do with this blow-off valve. Especially at low RPM, they say you'll get flutter regardless, and then you'll either get blow-off valve or full flutter or whatever you want. Speaking of which, let's stop mucking around. We're going to our full flutter setups now. Hectic dose.
The idiot is kinda right though. That Atmo port is now getting a blank put in and the adjustment is turned so the recirculation is closed. Effectively from here on we have no blow-off valve, so the chair leg ends may as well be back on. First test will be straight turbo with no intake piping. Not ideal for performance as it is stuffed down where there'll be a lot of heat for the intake temps, but for today we're throwing that and reliability concerns out the window.
Sounded a little bit fluffy, I don't know. It's not a very typical dough sound. Oh, a little bit, I guess.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's not bad. But let's go next to the, pretty much the go-to cheap or hack dose pipe setup for these. Just a 3-inch 90 degree. We'll try it with the filter on, filter off. I think this will really change the sound of that dose.
This gives us slightly less of a hot air intake and I can even fit a filter. If we wanted something like this permanently, we could go to a battery side intake, but I'd already spent enough money on this budget video.
I haven't clamped anything up. Let's hope that filter and pipe stays on. Let's see. Now we're talking. That's more like a dose.
That was better.
Stick that in your toy turbo.
Don't pick on my turbo.
And now, without the filter.
So, just how much does that filter muffle the sound?
That filter makes a heap of difference. I know what you're going to say, Mrs. Browney. It's not staying like that.
Why not?
It can't stay like that.
You just have to know how to drive it properly so you don't get pulled over.
One drive, jail. You're done.
Orange could look good on me.
Let's take a break to cool it down for a second. And then something like that, while we've got the 3-inch on. Exhaust dumps are a thing. Why can't more intakes come through the bonnet? Let's bring it back.
This section is 3-inch aluminium again and around 60 centimeters long. Interesting look. Not sure what you'd call this.
The car's got a wang.
Hey, just stop.
No?
Yeah, probably not that.
I didn't think that was going to end. That kept going.
Cut a hole?
We're not cutting a hole.
Oh.
That one's definitely not staying either.
Why?
That just kept going though, didn't it? Yeah. I think that lasted much longer. Okay, so I said material makes a difference. Is that true? We've got a mild steel, 3-inch 90. Pretty similar to the aluminium one we've got there, similar wall thickness, but you can feel the weight difference in similar wall thickness, similar size. Will this make a difference to that sound? Will it make it deeper, higher pitch? Let's find out. Let's try this one, see if it makes a difference. I did have a bit of oil on it, so it was like rust coating because it's mild steel. So hopefully that's all it was. I hope that's all it was. Let's find out. Take 2 on mild steel. Mrs. Browney likes that one better. I think it might have been louder.
Yeah, it's louder.
It was louder, but I don't think it was as high pitched. Like it's not that more VL Turbo high pitch one. That was a bit deeper, but it was, yeah, I think that was actually louder.
Yeah, louder, definitely.
So maybe the harder side wall, well, not harder, but the denser material soaked up some of the sound?
Maybe.
I don't know. And that's probably why it was a bit deeper.
Could be.
Interesting. You like that one better?
Yeah.
I still think this one's winning. 3-inch aluminium. But we've seen material. Does size matter?
Size always
Don't
matters.
say anything. Let's try the 2.5-inch aluminium this time, I think. Let's give that a go. That was cute. That actually sounded like a smaller pipe. Like, that was a noticeable difference.
Yeah, definitely.
It was actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cuter. Mrs. Browney says it was cuter. We're going with cuter. That's cuter. Bigger will be better.
Normally.
So this is a 4-inch elbow. Because the 4-inch piping, it's not going to fit in there. It is bloody tight getting in there, and it's really hot, so it's making it even harder. So we've got a 4-inch tight elbow. We might do some dodges because I'm out of silicone couplers for 4-inch, but we might do something dodgy to get it a bit of length so it's a bit more comparable to the 2.5 and 3-inch. But aluminium again, similar material. I reckon this is going to sound pretty good. Let's see. Ta-da! I'm a fabricator now. Good enough. I don't know if I like that.
It lasted longer, but it wasn't really like.
Yeah. I don't know. That was almost back to the no intake piping on the turbo. Fluffy. That's what I'm calling it. It's fluffy. It's not sharp. It's not.
Nah. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if it's better.
Yeah, that one's not my favourite. 3-inch aluminium so far. It's a winner for me.
I like the other one, the middle.
There.
Yeah, that one.
3-inch in mild. That was pretty good too. All right, it's getting to that time of the afternoon. We're both getting a bit tired. Let's try some weird stuff. Let's try some pipe on pipe on pipe. I'm just going to have a play with something and see what we come up with. 3-inch aluminium 90 into 2.5-inch aluminium 90 pointed right at Mrs. Browney's head, just in case that turbo is really suffering and shoots some blades out. She can catch them for me.
Good luck.
How about that one? Very long.
It definitely wasn't cute when you tried it.
It wasn't, yeah, it wasn't back to the 2.5-inch cute. It was kind of in between. Much longer.
Yes,
Wasn't nearly as high pitched as just the 3-inch.
definitely.
That's
I agree with
still,
that,
that's still my favourite. Do we go the big boy? I kind of ruined it before, but if I put this on, see, maybe it'll make it longer, maybe it'll,
yeah. Give it a go.
yeah. All right, let's try that one.
Why are you gonna point it at me?
It looks like something that should be on a truck or something.
Bad.
That's stupid.
Because I have it out the back.
Yeah, stacks. I don't know if it's it's kind of stackish.
Yeah.
Stack intakes.
Yeah.
All right, let's see how that goes. You right? Oh,
Yeah, I'm just moving.
are you scared? Are you scared now that I aimed at it?
I'm gonna die.
Nothing's coming out. Probably.
I don't know that I trust you.
There. That was good.
I like that.
That was good.
I didn't like the rattle of it. It didn't look like it was going to come at me, but it was really nice.
We might have a new winner at the moment. I think that's the best so far.
I really like that.
Slightly impractical to run though.
Just make it work.
Okay. Slightly impractical. I got slightly impractical. I think I got the ultimate coming up. I want to try something, then I think we're done. This one's going to be interesting.
All right.
This one, I might need Mrs. Browney behind the wheel for.
It's still pointing my way. In the car or not.
The ultimate driving experience. Okay. Fine. This should be going to the driver so your driver can best enjoy it. But since Mrs. Browney's being a chicken, I'll point it at the camera so you all can hear properly.
Like that better.
Get in the driver's seat.
Ready?
Yep. That went for ages. Okay, poor car, let's give her a break. Okay, I think we've beat on the car more than enough for today. We're both a bit tired and probably due for a drink, so I'll play all of those clips now back to back for you at home so you can compare, and let me know down in the comments what your favourite is. Is Turbo Flutter still everyone's number one? Or do some of you prefer that Atmo blow-off valve noise? For me, I think I prefer Flutter a little bit, but I'm not going to run it every day. We will go back to the custom shop Airbox. I'll run the stock piping over to there. But with that adjustable blow-off valve now, we can play with that and change it here and there as much as we like. So I will have a bit of that blow-off valve venting. We'll definitely have more dose. And one day, when we can, we'll have a battery side Airbox so we can actually put more piping options in. It's not really practical to have it sitting over the exhaust at the moment. My favourite still is the 3-inch aluminium Old Faithful though. They're a go-to on these cars for a reason. They fit and they sound good. I think Mrs. Browney still prefers the 3-inch mild steel though.
Yep.
Or, because she's a pain, the 3-inch aluminium into the big 4-inch aluminium.
That one's better.
Not exactly practical. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for all your support throughout this year. It's been amazing. Stay safe, and I hope I'll see you all for much, much more next year. Cheers, guys.
See ya.
Thank you.
No worries.
Is it recording?
Yeah, the red light's flashing
Oh,
now.
it's recording this time. We need a drink. That wasn't the second time we'd done that. No.
No, it definitely wasn't.